Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, bringing you the AA Word of the Day for Sunday, March 9th, 2025. And the word for today is surrendering self will. And this is the quote: Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. That's from the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous, page 34. And this is the daily commentary. No matter how much one wishes to try, exactly how can one turn his will and his life over to the care of whatever God he thinks there is? In my search for the answers to this question, I became aware of the wisdom with which it was written. That is, a two-part step. I could see many times where I should have died or at least been injured during my previous style of living, and it never happened. Someone or something was looking after me. I chose to believe my life has always been in God's care. He alone controls the number of days I will be granted until physical death. The matter of will, self will, or God's will, is the more difficult part of the step for me. It is only when I have experienced enough emotional pain through failed attempts to fix myself that I become willing to surrender to God's will for my life. Surrender is like the calm after the storm. When my will is in line with God's will for me, there is peace within. And amen to that. And this perfectly expresses the quandary I was in, trying to figure out a way that I could drink in safety and not suffer the side effects that every other single person who drank too much had. But I was going to be different, unique. So the first step, turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. In this posits that it is a two-part step. And, I always believed in God, the belief that was there from the beginning, but self will run riot with me. When I think of the amount of time that I spent making logs of all the work that I did so I wouldn't be considered an unproductive person who drank. Trying Southern Comfort, then trying wine, then trying beer, different types of beer. Uh, I never did the geographic cure. Uh, but the thing was that when I'd switched to something that I considered or had less alcohol than the previous thing, like when I went to University of Rhode Island, I drank Southern Comfort, and I liked it with unsweetened pineapple juice. And I could finish off a quart or a fifth of a quart of Southern Comfort in no time. But I got drunk very fast, very, very fast. So I went down to wine, red wine. I liked it with orange soda. I know it sounds weird, but so I buy it by the gallon. I figured when I was in the liquor store, maybe the people would think that I had, a family gathering going. That's why he's buying such, there were gallon jugs then, and I buy two at a time. But there again, I got drunk very quickly. Then I switched to beer. And I experimented around. At that time, there was a brewery open in Rhode Island called Narragansett Brewery. And they had great Oktoberfest right on their property. And it, it was quite something to go to. And that was like the height of my drinking when everything was good. It was good times. And I used to go to look forward to them every year. Of course, I'd start prepping a couple of days before. And so when I got there, I was really wasted. Uh, so I switched. I switched to Narragansett was a local beer. It was cheaper, and I tried Schlitz. I didn't like Schlitz. I tried Budweiser. I didn't like Budweiser. Then I found Miller Lite because I was gaining weight, drinking all this beer, all these carbohydrates. I was gaining weight, and I figured, well, Miller Lite, that would be a nice way to be able to drink a lot of beer and not put on weight. Of course, that didn't work because I just drank more. I started out with 12-ounce cans, and then I would buy cases of 16-ounce cans. And I would fill the back of my S10 pickup and store them in my garage and then go and take two in at a time. I always had enough in case there was a disaster or if there was a hurricane, I'd have enough beer. And it all stemmed from we did get a very significant blizzard in 1978, and I had enough beer with me. I didn't have to worry. Uh, Made it through the whole blizzard. And the week after, I had plenty of beer. Miller Lite 16-ounce cans. And so all this time I was drinking, I knew there was a God, and He was going to help me find a way to drink in safety. Of course, that never happened. And eventually I had to admit that there was no way that I could drink in safety. And at that time, I didn't understand the concept of it, that it's the first drink that gets you drunk. I would argue with you up and down. I'm not drunk after the first drink. But once I had that drink in me, I couldn't stop. And I got drunk. Now I understand the wisdom of that. And have surrendered to that. It is the first drink. So for these 34 years, I have not had a first drink. And I remain sober. So it was one of those uh, sayings when I first got into AA that I hated. It didn't seem to make any sense to me. What do you mean I could drink 4 beers and I'm still not drunk? But I was on my way to getting drunk. And it says, through failed attempts to fix myself, that I became willing to surrender God's will for my life. And I think I mentioned this before, that I'm trying to think of the great Indian leader. I think it was at Wounded Knee. He just gave up after all the little Indian children were being killed and everything. And he said, I will fight no more forever. And that was kind of my motto when I joined AA. I will fight no more forever. And it's held me in good stead. And I'm very grateful that I found AA. And I'm very grateful that I have this means of spreading the news of AA to people that might not have the opportunity to go to a meeting. So many of the meetings are at night, and so many of the faith-based meetings are at night also. And it's no longer possible for me to drive at night safely. And having said that, on a national platform like this, not saying that I'm that big, but getting the word out there, if anything happened and they reviewed social media, You know, they say, well, you recognize the problem. And I do. I recognize the problem. I'm a nurse. I do not have good night vision. There was one place up the road from me. I'd go up it. I'd know where it is during the day, but at night I couldn't see it. And I'd drive past it. Then I have to turn around and I'd do it. One night I did it 3 times. I could not find the driveway to get into the place. And so I just gave up. I didn't go to the meeting, and the people were disappointed. And they said to me, "Where were you? You said you were coming." I said, "I tried, but I, I couldn't get in there." Now we're coming up on, turning the clocks spring forward, so it's going to be light. It's going to get lighter from now until June 21st. But there's like now a 3, 4, 5 month period where if a meeting starts at 7 and gets over at 8:30, I can get home without it being dark. I can see exit signs, and then so I may do more night meetings, but we'll have to see. I mean, it seems like my vision decreases at night, even a little more every year. So, surrendering self will, one of the most important concepts. I berated it when I got in, and now I'm a proponent of surrendering self will. So I hope you all have a safe, holy, and sober Sunday, and we will see you tomorrow. If this looks a little clearer, I got a Nook tablet, and the camera on the Nook is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I mean, I can see my eyes pretty good. The other ones, they're old. Well, they're much older. So, okay, I will talk to you tomorrow. God bless.